The courses in the Mario Kart series have evolved over time from basically being a circle to having you fly through the air and ride on walls. And these changes make for some pretty sick gameplay, but it also made me curious how many of these twisting, outlandish levels could actually be completed start to finish by a human. So today we're going to be looking at the courses from Mario Kart 8, excluding the DLC and booster course pack, to see if I, as a regular human being, could run the entirety of them. And let me get something straight. I could not run any of them. I don't run. I try to run, I take 2 steps and get a cramp. I try to run, my hips say, actually, you're not that girl. So we're gonna have to suspend our disbelief and imagine that I am one who is able to run. As far as things on the courses that affect vehicles, none of the boost pads or other things like that are actually going to do anything to me as a human. In this instance, they're merely pretty lights on the ground. And we're gonna basically act like the coins that are on the tracks just aren't there. Everything else, though, will be taken into consideration. So let's start at the top with the Mushroom Cup. Mario Kart Stadium looks like it's gonna be a pretty smooth ride to start. The first courses of the Mario Kart games are usually pretty simple since they're introducing players to the game's mechanics. Some traffic cones, no big deal, we can just go around, and since the boosters don't do anything for me as a human runner, it actually makes most sense to stay on the inside corner here. Not even gonna bother with the ramps don't really make sense when you're running, and everything is looking pretty dang smooth here. Ooh, bit of a spooky helicopter light, usually that means they're looking for someone, so make sure you have your mace when you go out running on this course. And this is where we stop. I obviously cannot make that jump, nor defy gravity, but we were close. Mario Kart 8 just got a little too fancy with their first course of the game. Mario Kart Stadium is unrunnable. Moving along to Water Park, already it sounds like not a super great idea to run through a water park, but we'll give it a shot. The stairs add insult to the injury of already having to run. My cardio is quaking, and we're probably gonna stop right there. The track continues underwater for a decent time, and even if we're super generous and allow some swimming through that part, there's even more water up ahead, so this is no bueno. Water Park is unrunnable. Sweet Sweet Canyon's dessert-laden course at least provides some on-the-way snackage should I get peckish on the road. Seems like there might be some sugar pollution in the air that might make it a bit hard to breathe without choking on a granule, but we'll ignore that. And that's where it stops right there. Yep. Okay, sorry Sweet Sweet Canyon, didn't even need to stop for a snack. Sweet Sweet Canyon is unrunnable. Next stop is Thwomp Ruins, which I already would probably guess would violate some health and safety guidelines, but honestly, the beginning looks like a beautiful run. This is the kind of jogging scenery I'm talking about. And then almost immediately it comes to an end. We don't go on the wall here for obvious reasons, and we just pick a route since I think they're roughly similar. In real life, running underneath this thing would be absolutely terrifying, but doable. We've got a little ledge here, but upon examination it seems very manageable to jump down, so I'm fine with that. Will this be the first course that actually gets completed? No! There it is, folks. That is not a jump a human can make. So close yet so far away. Thwomp Ruins is unrunnable. Well, that was a bust for the Mushroom Cup, but will we have more luck in the Flower Cup? First up is Mario Circuit, a classic in Mario Kart games from the very beginning with Mario Kart for the SNES. Looks like it starts out tame enough, some lovely scenery with a twisty bridge, which is interesting. We for sure stay away from that piranha plant. Actually, here's probably a good time to talk about gravity in these courses. Almost all of the Mario Kart 8 courses have some portion of the track that defies gravity, and the karts have special gravity-defying grippy tires that allow them to stay on. Taking this into consideration when evaluating these courses would really take the wind out of the sails of this video, so I'm gonna make the call that as long as the transition is smooth, if the only route we can go on defies gravity, we'll say that we have grippy shoes that let us do that as well. And if it's really gonna bother you that I don't count it, here are all the tracks we're looking at that use anti-gravity segments that you can cross off at home. That being said, gravity aside, we move through the rest of this course with relative ease, assuming you can dodge these 3 Goombas who lost their trench coat. Mario Circuit is runnable. Toad Harbor immediately looks like it'll make for a quaint stroll with the sailboats in the distance. Absolutely no need for that shortcut, and in fact impossible, and considering we're but a simple human, we're gonna take the ground route. No time for a cheeky stop at the toy store, and as long as we watch our step while crossing the tram tracks, we can make it to the ending of Toad Harbor nice and easy. Toad Harbor is runnable. Okay, so I get scared going into Spirit Halloween stores, so the amount of hyping myself up I'd have to do before going in is ridiculous. But once I worked up enough bravery, I could make my way into the mansion and definitely hug the walls while I tried not to piss myself in fear. This part might be a little tough, but I actually don't think we need to rely on the anti-gravity shoes here, as we could walk along the banister on the edge and stay upright. And then I'd take this little library shortcut, because why not? And then our journey luckily ends before we have to go into this terrifying mouth, since that's liquid in there anyways. Twisted Mansion is unrunnable. Now right at the beginning, 10 out of 10 for scenery at Shy Guy Falls. This is gorgeous. We start with some easy curves, no problem, and we found the end. Nothing gold can stay, I suppose. Shy Guy Falls is unrunnable. On to the Star Cup and thus Sunshine Airport. Now the first logistical problem with running through an airport is going to be outrunning security. The next problem would be the danger of running on the tarmac with the planes taking off, but we don't even have to worry about that because that's going to be a fall that breaks our legs. Sunshine Airport is unrunnable. Next up is Dolphin Shoals. No, Dolphin Shoals is unrunnable. And if you think I'm done immediately shutting things down, think again, because we're marking this one off right at the top too. Electrodome is unrunnable. Maybe Wario Mountain will turn it. Okay, now this is just ridiculous. Mount Wario is unrunnable. Will the Special Cup have more potential? Let's see. To literally not a single person surprised, Cloud Top Cruise is not gonna happen. Cloud Top Cruise is unrunnable. The vibes of this place are super interesting. Sunset means it wouldn't be too hot, which is nice. While the pirate ship shooting coins doesn't seem too dangerous, taking a giant golden coin to the head would probably do some damage, so best avoid that. Though these bone piranha planes are definitely scary, the main thing that would suck is running up and down these hills on sand. Ugh. Not impossible though. This, however, is impossible. Bone Dry Dunes is unrunnable. Bowser's Castle, despite being intimidating, looks pretty easy to run through at first. But that stops right about here. That jump would absolutely suck. And then you have to dodge fireballs on top of that? And then if you make that, you have to make another wild jump? And even if I'm being generous and ignoring that, and the next one, and the following giant rock monster attempting to crush you, it still doesn't work because of this jump. Bowser's Castle is unrunnable. As much as I love Rainbow Road courses, I, as a human, cannot run through space. Both due to the lack of spacesuit, but also because of the lack of gravity. And it is for this reason that I am out. Rainbow Road is unrunnable. Now we get into the throwback courses, but will their age make them any safer? I mean, Moo Moo Meadows is a great start. Easy dirt roads made for jogging. We of course stop for a bit to pet some cows, and then we go along our merry way. We go around the ramp because once again, that would just be an inhibitor to a human runner, and oh my god! I did not think of the inherent danger that these giant Monty moles would pose. Trying to avoid these would actually be pretty terrifying in real life. Big Dune Worm vibes. However, I would still say this is possible, albeit unexpectedly spooky towards the end, and Moo Moo Meadows is runnable. As I said, Mario Circuit is a classic, and though we couldn't make our way through the last one, could we make it through this version? Oh, looks like no. The Game Boy Advance Mario Circuit is also unrunnable. Chip Chip Beach seems like it might make for a cheeky little run. Now we do have this jump, and at first I was gonna call it, but actually, I think you'd be fully fine jumping into the water from that height. And the fact that you could pretty easily and quickly swim to the island makes me think this is okay. So let's continue on and see if there's anything else that would make for a bad time. You go around this ramp, quickly go through the water to the next island. Like, I don't mind these tiny bits of water as long as we can get right back on track without too much delay. Like, even when we ride through on our bikes, our heads aren't fully going underwater, you know? And then the rest of the way is pretty straightforward. We definitely don't want to get our nice running shoes muddy, but yeah, we can make it. Cheap Cheap Beach is runnable. Toad's Turnpike I was not hopeful for right off the bat. I remember that this course is just driving through traffic, so I thought there was no way that this would be a safe course to run on. But actually, it turns out that on this course, not only are you running with traffic, but there's actually a little safe shoulder that runs throughout the entire course. So as long as you stick to the side, you can fully make it. It would be spooky as heck to run alongside all those cars, but definitely not impossible. Toad's Turnpike is runnable. Right off the bat, I can see a problem with Dry Dry Desert, and that's that it would be extremely hot, extremely dusty, and you'd be running on sand. These pokies would be eerie, but not too much of a problem. And I initially thought this giant sandpit might be an issue, but you can just go around it with relative ease. Once you get here, I would say swimming the gaps between islands would be fair play since they're pretty small gaps, but if you want to play it safe, you could also go around this way. After all, the game lets you go there, so it doesn't consider it out of bounds or anything. And after that, there's the finish line. If this were a really long course in a sweltering desert, I might be tempted to say I couldn't run it as a human. But the fact that it's pretty short and has water in it, we're gonna say Dry Dry Desert is runnable. Donut Plains obviously gives big Mario Circuit vibes, but this one at least at first seems a little easier. Now those planks being broken are definitely a hazard, but if we watch where we step, we should be fine. Now we've got this water gap that I'm gonna say we can get across. That's no problem. I could hold my breath and run across the bottom if I needed to. We step around puddles because there's no need to step in the puddles. These moles again! I hate these moles. Dude, genuinely, like look how genuinely dangerous that is! Look at that! But I mean, if you can get around them, what can I say? You can make it to the end. Donut Plains 3 is runnable. Now I just know Royal Raceway is at least gonna be a pretty run. The confetti in the air would definitely be like, but at least it's only in the beginning. Pretty straightforward, nice looking, nothing crazy. Until you get here. No, that's not gonna fly. Even if I stretch it and count swimming across that, the ledge to get up to this platform is so steep all the way across with no footholds or anything that I don't think you'd be able to get up. So we're gonna say Royal Raceway is unrunnable. The entire time I ran DK Jungle, I would be singing DK Donkey Kong. Unfortunately, even if you don't twist your ankle tripping over these routes, you will not make it past this epic jump. DK Jungle is unrunnable. The DS Wario Stadium is sure to have some tricks up its sleeve considering it's meant for dirt biking. Is this one now? No, actually, that seems very doable. That's barely anything. Okay, that one, however, that's a pretty nasty jump. We would survive it, but RIP to our knees. These boosts won't do anything, so we'll have to run through the mud, but it's fine, just not very pleasant. Now we just kind of run up and down these hills on the side. Not too much of a threat there, that's doable. Now this is really forcing us to put our gravity shoes to work and stretch our imaginations a little bit, because obviously this is wild. But our imaginations can only stretch so far because that's not gonna happen right there. DS Wario Stadium is unrunnable. On to Sherbert Land! No good! Running on snow and ice. Hope you have your insurance card ready to go. Obviously we couldn't sprint through this part, and we might have to resort to crawling, but one could get through to the other side. And the rest of these snowy roads don't really bother me at all. That's pretty straightforward. It's really just the ice sections. And actually there's this paved path along the edge that's much more safe, so you could run on those. And I would recommend it. Sherbert Land is runnable. Music Park, as unbelievable as it is once again in space. You can see later on in the level, top, bottom, all around, it's all space. So Music Park is, in fact, unrunnable. Yoshi Valley is a pretty quaint and adorable run to start out with, but this absolute spaghetti bowl would give me so much anxiety over getting lost. Despite that, it seems relatively safe. I only tested one route, but I got through it. The jumps were small, the paths were steady, and while this giant egg would be astonishingly large in real life, it moves pretty slow, so don't consider it much of a threat. Then the rest of the course is a piece of cake. Yoshi Valley is runnable. Tick-Tock Clock is such a weird one. I kind of have to assume that this is a ginormous clock instead of being stuck on the logistics of us shrinking down as a human. It was hard to tell how big this jump was, but it turned out to be pretty much nothing. Then all this was fine. These jumps were a little steeper, but nothing crazy. Now this part was interesting. Maneuvering between these gears would be absolutely wild, but I wouldn't say it's impossible, especially because they overlap. It would be so scary to move with that kind of momentum though. We're definitely not gonna go on the hand of the clock because why would we? And that's the end. Tick-Tock Clock is runnable. Piranha Plant Slide has a very spooky jump right at the top, but it's nothing unsurvivable. Then there's this water bit right after, but it's short enough where I'm fine saying you could swim through it and get back on track. And you would definitely want to stick to the sides here since just the thought of running through water right now is making me feel icky. Then we have this jump, and I'm gonna say that's a little too tall for me considering, I mean, I just fell off the edge just then. So we're gonna say Piranha Plant Slide is unrunnable. Why am I running at an active volcano? What could possibly make me want to run through an active volcano? And I mean, this first jump, maybe not impossible if you sprinted, but gee, I wouldn't risk it. But then you get further and it's like, what is this? What are we doing here? Why are we running a Grumble volcano? To be honest, I'm on the fence about all these jumps. Because you have to remember that the vehicle we're riding on in the game goes faster than human legs. And I haven't even brought up the danger of fire falling from the sky and parts of the track crumbling off. I would be so salty the entire time running through this track, and I hate that I think I have to say that it's possible. I could run through Grumble Volcano, but I wouldn't. Regardless, Grumble Volcano is runnable. And for N64's Rainbow Road, even if it isn't as spacey as the other Rainbow Road courses, it's still at least as high up as planes fly, so the sheer air pressure and lack of oxygen means there's no way I'm running this. Rainbow Road is once again unrunnable. So these are the base courses of Mario Kart 8 that I, as a human, could run through, if I could run. If you enjoyed this and want to see me attempt to run through the DLC courses too, let me know. And we are about 100 subscribers away from 20K, so double check, make sure you're subbed, and if you're not, come on. Was that a compelling argument? Well, either way, I'm pretty dang tired from all this pretend running, so I'm gonna go kick my feet up and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.
Goombanna is the wonder why she didn't come to play. Gaming vids that'll make you laugh and think and put them on replay. Intelligent, kind of funny, her community's #1. Stick around and kick your feet up. Goombanna has just begun.